We've had a chance to visit, and with this team, continue to be encouraged and excited about coaching them. I mean, a lot of athletic talent, very deep, tremendous effort and energy right now. We've just got an awful lot to learn, and I think we're going to continue to be a work in progress without question, and continue to get better and make strides as we move forward. But very encouraged in terms of the possibilities from what we see so far. And it's hard to believe that even after only about a week of full practice that we're getting real close to an exhibition and real close to an opener and real close to heading off to Michigan State, and can continue to look at that game as an opportunity for us to not necessarily see where we are, but be in an environment and go against the kind of program that that we want to be like. We want to be a team that builds it over time with a belief and a style of play and a mentality and be a true program. And we're continuing to lay that foundation every day and have been really pleased with what we've seen so far.
Darrin, what's been the thing that's really stood out the most during this first week of practice from what you've seen from the guys?
I think more than anything, just athleticism and looking out on the floor and feeling like all 10 or 12 guys can contribute something. As I said earlier, I think it's the first time since we've been here that we've been in that situation where we feel like from a depth standpoint that we have that many guys.
What's impressed you so far? What do you need to work on?
Again, I think what's impressed us is more general stuff in terms of, I think, our focus and our effort and our energy has been good, especially for a group where, most everybody's going through it for the first time. In some ways a little scary to think we've got one guy on our roster that has played more than a year in the SEC and to be eligible to play this year. Whether you want to call him first year or, whatever, freshman, sophomore, I don't know that it matters. We just got one guy like that. So I think in light of that, the fact that, every day we've come out, we feel like we've accomplished something and gotten better, that's been really good. I think, what are we concerned about? At this point, everything. it's so early. I hate to sound like a coach, but it's so early that, we really, whether it's something basketball specific or just understanding, like Monday, for example, we really had one of those practices where we were just going to try to find a way to fight through something. And, I don't know that we were great at anything, but we needed as a young team to learn that, and it's going to get really hard, and how are you going to respond when that happens? And so, we've had a lot of that stuff. So if you ask me what I'm worried about, I'd say probably everything right now.
With the solution-wise, Darrin, is it a case where you maybe just have to get into a game, exhibitional regular season, to start finding some of the answers?
I think that's always the case, but I think that's true, Dave, every year. Even if you know what you have coming back and who you have, I think that every year you're trying to figure out what's the best thing for this team and to get these individuals in the right position to be successful. And I think practice helps develop that, but games, I think even more so when you go against other people.
Coach, have the younger guys been pushing each other in practice? Have they kind of been trying to step up and make themselves stand out to the coaches?
Yeah, I think so. And again, when you look at, we've got 12 guys that are eligible this year, and 6 of them are freshmen. Then you don't have any choice but to notice them and then push each other just from a sheer numbers standpoint. But again, overall, we've been pleased with our freshmen and the effort that they've shown and the progress that they're making.
That being said, are you looking for guys like Hakeem and Sam to step into some leadership roles, being that they're suddenly the upperclassmen on this team?
Well, I think the guys that have been through it, even if it's just one time like Hakeem, definitely we're leaning on more heavily than we maybe would in a normal circumstance with balanced classes and experience to provide some of that leadership and just experience, even though it may be limited, to help guys get through a tough practice or understand what needs to be done for us to be successful.
How has Hakeem developed over the offseason into the second year?
Well, I think he's just improved really in every way. The best thing about freshmen is they become sophomores, and I think that he's shown that. He's much more efficient in how he plays in general, I think, and obviously he's a defensive presence and rebounding the ball, but really, especially with our total team makeup being different, is really starting to show his probably greatest skill, which is his ability to make plays and just make plays for others as well. And with the team that we have this year, I think that you're going to be able to see him do that a lot more. And ultimately, that's one of the things we always thought made him special in the recruiting process is he's a young man that can impact a game in a major way, but bordering on dominated, just from doing a bunch of other little things without going out and getting 20 points. And I think that he's starting to show that even more because of the experience of having a year under his belt and because our team's different this year.
Outside of Ramon and Darrin, is everybody else pretty healthy?
Yeah, Malik Cook had just a typical, minor ankle sprain, out a couple days, but he's back, and so the Ramon we're good. And
does Ramon still have that cast on his foot?
He got his cast off on Monday. He's in a boot now. Timetable there isn't one. We just have to see how he responds, and hopefully it's sooner than later. But at this point in time, wouldn't be anything that we would rush for sure.
Are there any of the newcomers in particular who have been standing out so far in practice?
You mean the freshmen?
The
six freshmen?
Yeah.
I think obviously, Bruce has separated himself a little bit just on sheer talent and athleticism. Has a tremendous will to win and has shown that competitiveness in practice without question. Brian Richardson has been a really pleasant surprise in the way that he's played. One of those guys that is thrown between the lines and he can hoop. He just does a lot of basketball stuff. He makes shots. He's pretty solid defensively and has a good feel for the game. And I think other guys have shown positives as well. But on a consistent basis of the freshmen, those are the two that probably stand out right now. But they're freshmen, and if you ask me tomorrow, it could be a different answer.
I know you guys play Michigan State in a couple weeks. That's going to be quite a way to break in this new class.
Well, again, as I said earlier, I think, part of that game's design was, first and foremost, national television exposure for our program in November at a time where, South Carolina hasn't gotten that, at least since I've been here. And so I think that's really important. But the other thing is, those are the kind of games we want to be in. It's the kind of program that we want to be. Michigan State has built it with being ultra successful regionally, especially in state recruiting. They've had their share of highly talented recruits, but it's not like they've won with 5 McDonald's All-Americans every year, like some of the other programs have that have been as good as them recently. And they've graduated kids and just done it the right way. And that's the kind of program that we want to be. And I think that being in a game like that of that magnitude is going to expose our guys and show them what we want to do and what we want to be. And so I think from that standpoint, it's going to be an absolute positive for us. And then just from a sheer basketball preparation standpoint, we'll play in places that are tough to play. When we get into league play especially, but I don't know that any will necessarily be tougher or significantly tougher than going on the road there. And so we'll get that taste early on and hopefully can use that as our benchmark.
Do you have an idea right now of your starting five, maybe early in the season?
I really don't, and simply because it's not coach talk, I promise. We haven't had everybody out there. Ramon's been out. He was a guy that probably factored into having a real shot to do that. Malik has been out. He was a guy that factored into that. So we really haven't seen our full team practice, really at all so far this year. And so, you got to think a guy like Sam Muldrow and Akeem Jackson's going to find their way out there. But to be able to say we feel really good about these five, I couldn't do that right now. And even when we do, I really think the strength of this team is going to be 6 through 9 and 10 being able to come in and hopefully not have a lot of drop off, and hopefully that'll be a real strength for us.
With Malik sitting out, has there been one guy who's kind of taken his place, in that rotation?
Not really, and again, we've got challenges with practice with Ramon out, and then when Malik was out, in terms of positions and roles, had to play a couple guys out of position, so don't know that we got a fair look at them. R.J. Slauson, for example. Right. Murphy has not been available for every practice because of academic responsibilities with this class schedule, and having to register late because of the transfer. And so, it's really been hard to get a gauge for some of that stuff.